am a sick man. I am a spiteful man. I am an unattractive man. I believe my liver is diseased. I don't consult a doctor, and never have. I am extremely superstitious. I am well educated enough to not be superstitious, but I am superstitious. I refuse to consult a doctor from spite. That you probably will not understand, but I understand it. I know better than anyone that by all this, I am only injuring myself and no one else, but still, my liver is bad. Well, let it get worse. I used to be in government service. I was a spiteful official, rude, and took pleasure in being so. I was lying just now. When I said I was a spiteful official, I was lying from spite, simply amusing myself. You imagine that I intend to amuse you. In that, you are also mistaken. But what can a decent man speak of with most pleasure? Answer, of himself. So I will talk about myself. They said, we have only to discover the laws of nature. Then man will no longer have to answer for his actions. All human actions will then be tabulated according to these laws, mathematically, like tables of logarithms up to 108,000, and entered in an index, in which everything will be so clearly calculated and explained that there will be no more incidents or adventures in the world. The Palace of Crystal will be built. There's a whole psychology in all this. Perhaps it is simply that I'm a coward. That I imagine an audience before me, in order that I may be more dignified while I write. Today it is raining, just as it rained yesterday. And tomorrow, it shall rain again. What's your name?
Liza.
What weather? The rain. It's disgusting. No answer. Have you been here long?
Where?
In this house.
2 weeks.
God knows why I did not go away. I felt myself more and more sick and dreary. I saw them carrying out a coffin yesterday. They nearly dropped it.
A coffin?
Yes, in the street. They were bringing it up out of a cellar. Nasty day to be buried.
Nasty in what way?
The rain.
It makes no difference.
No, it's horrid. There must have been water in the grave.
And?
You mean to say you don't mind how you die?
But why should I die?
Well, someday you'll die. Just like that dead woman in that coffin. She was a girl just like you. Died of consumption.
A girl like me would have died in a hospital.
Is it better to die in a hospital?
Isn't it just the same?
Never mind my being here. Convinced that you've been wronged. That you're more sinned against than sinning. A girl like yourself can't have come here of her own volition.
A girl like myself?
I had felt some time that I was turning her soul upside down, rending her heart. The more I was convinced of it, the more I desired to gain my object as quickly and effectually as possible. There's my address.
Wait.
A love letter. I walked all the way home, in spite of the rain, shattered in bewilderment. But behind the bewilderment, the truth was already gleaming. The loathsome truth. The thought that Liza was coming worried me continually. It seemed odd to me that of all my recollections, this tormented me quite separately. Everything else I succeeded in forgetting. What if she comes? It is horrid that she should see how I live. My room is like a beggar's. I did not know then. All these years later, I would still in my imagination see Liza, always with the pitiful, distorted smile which was on her face that moment. I was ready to look upon it all as nonsense, due to overexcited nerves, and above all, as exaggerated. I exaggerate everything. That is where I go wrong. Besides, they wouldn't let her out. They don't let them go out very readily, especially in the evening.
Sit down. You've caught me in an odd position, Liza. On the contrary, I take pride in it. Would you like some tea?
No.
I could kill myself.
What are you saying?
I said I could kill myself.
What's the matter?
That tea. Do you despise me?
What?
Well, do you? Answer.
Maybe I should leave.
Why have you come? I'll tell you why. You've come because I talked sentimental stuff to you then. So now you are soft as butter and longing for fine sentiments. So you may as well know that I was laughing at you then. I'm laughing at you now. Yes, I was laughing at you. I had been insulted just before at dinner by fellow officials. I came to you, meaning to thrash one of them, but I didn't succeed. I had to avenge the insult to get back on my own again. You turned up, I vented my spleen on you and laughed at you. I had been humiliated, so I had to humiliate. That's what it was. You imagine that I had come there on purpose to save you? Save you? Save you from what? But I'm worse than you myself. Power. Power was what I wanted then. I wanted to wring your tears, your hysteria. That was what I wanted. course I couldn't keep it up, because I'm a wretched creature. The devil knows why I gave you my address. Before I got home, I was cursing and swearing at you because of that address. I hated you already because of the lies I had told you. Because I like playing with words. Do you know what has worried me particularly for these last 3 days? That I posed as such a hero to you. And now you should see me wretched, beggarly, and loathsome. I told you that I was not ashamed of my poverty. You may now know that I am ashamed. More ashamed of it than anything. Surely by now you must realize that I will never forgive you for seeing me this way. And for confessing to you now, I will never forgive you either. Because I am the nastiest, stupidest, absurdest, and most envious of all the worms on earth, who are not a bit better than I am, yet are never put in confusion, while I will always be insulted. What is it to me that you don't understand a word of this? What do I care? Why do you still stand confronting me? After all this, why don't you go?
And then something strange happened. Liza understood a great deal more than I had imagined. She realized that it must have felt very bitter to me to say all this. I was a despicable man, and what was worse, incapable of loving her. It is strange I should not love her. By then I was incapable of love. With me, loving meant tyrannizing and showing my moral superiority.
Hey.
I never met Liza again. I sat at home that evening, almost dead with the pain in my soul. Even now, years later, all this is somehow a very evil memory. Hadn't I better end my notes here? I believe I made a mistake in beginning to write them. I felt ashamed as long as I've been writing this story. It's hardly literature so much as corrective punishment. To tell stories showing how I have spoiled my life rotting in my corner through divorce from real life and rankling spite in my underground world. It's uninteresting. A novel needs a hero, and all the traits for an anti-hero are expressly gathered here. But we are all divorced from life, so divorced from real life that we cannot bear to be reminded of it. We are oppressed at being human, with real individual bodies and blood. We are stillborn and have been begotten not by living fathers, and that suits us. We are developing a taste for it. But enough. I don't want to write any more from underground.